Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just going to quickly review our multiplication using two-digit numbers. You can use one of the examples from our math test. Let's use one of the questions, 71 times 15. And I think we all understand how the place value in this question works, that really what this is we can break this up, and it's 5 times 71, and it's 10 times 71. And that you could even break that up a little bit further. Now, one of the things that we did to sort of show a good way of breaking things up is we learned this lattice strategy, which is kind of a really handy way to break things up and to think about them. And we had our 10 and our 5, and we had our 7 and our 1, or 70 and our 1, sorry. And then we multiplied these across, and wherever they lined up, we would put the number in there. So 50 times 70 was 3,500, and sorry, that's not 50 times 70. Let's back up a step. That's only 350, because this is a 5 times 70. But over here, this is our 10 and our 1, so 10 times 1 is 10. And now we have our 10 times our 70, which is 700. And we've got now our 1 times 10, which we've got up there, and we've got our 1 times 5. And so we've got 5, and we add these together, and we've got our 700, our 350, and our 10 and our 5. And we can add those together, and it brings me 60. I add my hundreds, and I've got 10 hundreds. So my final answer is 1065. Now, that's a really, really good strategy. In fact, another way that I could maybe go about doing this is I could just realize that it's 5 times 71 is going to be half of 710. And half of 710 is 360. And that's going to be 360 plus my 710. Actually, that's not going to be 360. That's going to be 365, isn't it? So let's put our 365 up here. Half of 710 is 365, not 360. Or is that, sorry, that's 355. Let's get this right. So half of 710 is 355, and we add those together, and again we get our 1065 as well. Now, really good strategies, and I particularly like this one because I can do this in my head most times, especially if I'm dealing with fairly simple numbers. But it's not the most efficient way of doing this. So now that we understand it, let's try to move toward a really, or toward a more efficient way of doing it. So taking the same one, let's take our 71 and our 15, and assuming we've got some paper and pen on hand, we can now multiply our 5 times our 1, and we're going to get, not sure what happened there. We take our 5 times 1, and we're going to get 5. Now we got 5 times 70. That's 5 times 70 there. So 5 times 70 is going to be 350. So now we're done with the 5. Now we do this is a 10, remember, not a 1. 10 times 1 is 10. 10 times 70 is 700. And you can see we're going to get our 1065. But can we do that even a little bit more efficiently? Well, yeah, we can. Let's try that again. 71 times 15. 5 times 1. But now I'm going to do my 5 times 70. And I know that there's a 0 in the column here. And so I'm going to put my 35 down there because 5 times 7 is 35. But now I've got 10 times 1. So I'm going to put a 0 here because we're now dealing with the 10s, not the 1s. So 10 times 1 is 10. And 10 times 70, or 1 times 7 in this case, is going to be 700. I can put that in the hundreds column. Now I can add those up a little bit quicker. and I come up with 1065. So that's a slightly more efficient way of doing it, and either way shows that we really understand it. But what happens if we have to do some carrying over or regrouping? Well, let me show you one more example. Taking another example from our test, 42 multiplied by 56. I'm going to do 6 times 2 is 2, but I've got it, sorry, 6 times 2 is 12, so I've got to put my 10 up here. 6 times 40 now, or 6 times 6 is 24, but it's 24 tens. I got to add one more 10 to it, so it's actually 25 tens. And this is where, if you know your multiplication tables, you're going to be just that much more efficient. Alright, so now I'm going to put a 0 here because now I'm dealing with tens over here, and I'm going to get rid of this up here because I don't want that to confuse me. So now I've got 5 times 2, or 50 times 2, is 100. So I've got to put my extra 1 up there because I can't fit in the full 10 there. And now I've got 5 times 4 is 20, but I've got to add in that extra 1. So 21. Now I can just go and add those up, and I come up with my solution. You can see there that knowing our multiplication tables is going to make us really efficient and really quick. So it's worthwhile memorizing them.